Before we get into the video, I just want to say big thank you to everybody. Sent nice messages to me about me nads. I had the snip at the weekend on Saturday. Turned out to be the bloody best bit, actually. I think it's Saturday, actually, to be honest. I've got to say, right, this is the West Ham channel, so I'm going to get to the football in a sec. But anyone that's ever worried about getting that done, I've had a couple of people say it to me since I've said I was getting it done. Saying, I'm a bit worried about it. And I've got friends as well, people I know that have said, a bit anxious about getting it. Honestly, it really isn't worth worrying about. It wasn't that bad at all. Just a bit achy, a little bit sore. Feels like you've been kicked in the balls about an hour ago. That's how it feels. You know what I mean? A bit bruised, but I'm all right. So really, honestly, on a serious note, I do appreciate the messages. I'm feeling a bit better now. I want to talk about West Ham, of course, weirdly enough, being a West Ham channel. I want to talk about Tobibo, our new signing that we've barely seen, and I'm getting a little bit. I'm not getting a little bit worried. I'm more getting a bit frustrated about it now because I feel like we've kind of got to the point where a change is needed. He needs to come into the side. I talked about this in the Fulham preview. I talked about it when I did the lineup, and I said in my team, and look, it's open to suggestion. Of course, everyone can suggest what they want to say and have their own teams and their own ideas. And I'd said that I felt that Tobibo should have started that game. I felt like Mavropanos, for me, is not the number one centre-back for us to partner Max Kilman. And I think that the performance of Mavropanos in the Fulham game, actually, my views were justified, actually. I felt that it's got to that stage now where this needs to happen. There's a few reasons for it. First of all, I want to talk about Mavropanos. Look, I've got absolutely nothing against the guy. I think that he has been a pretty solid signing for West Ham. He's put in some decent performances over the time he's been at the club. I just don't think he's a first choice centre-back. I see him as a decent cover now. And the reason for that is, and I'm not just talking about this season, because a lot of people said to me when I did my team, well, he's not done enough. He's not lost the shirt. He's been solid enough so far this season. One, I would actually slightly disagree with that. I think he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's been that great. I think he has made a few errors. I think he was at fault for one of the goals against Manchester City, I think, when they made it 3-1. Look, at the end of the day, look, I think it would have been a bit harsh to really hammer him for it, but still, I still think he was at fault. But, as I said, I didn't want to make a song and dance about it. But let's get it right. The Fulham performance from Mavropanos, he was the reason we conceded the goal, in my opinion. It was his error that led to that goal. I think he should have done a lot better. I just feel like with Mavropanos, right, it's not a case of occasionally he makes an error or very, very rarely. It's not rarely, it's a pattern. It's almost like he's become one of those players. I'm expecting a mistake out of him every time we play a game, and he pretty much delivers. He will make an error. It's a really tough job being centre-back's a really tough gig, isn't it? Let's be honest. You've got to be so focused. And if you make one error in this level football, you're punished. You just get punished and you get called out on it. So I do understand it, but that's regardless, that is the job. And we've seen it now quite a few times, I think, from Mavropanos over his time at the club, where he's just prone to these errors. And these errors are costly. They're so costly. He has cost us quite a few goals. I mean, look, he's not Roberto level. Do you know what I mean? He's not a walking calamity. He's certainly not that. He's a decent enough defender. That's why I say he's a decent backup to have. I just don't want to keep seeing him starting games now and him being treated as this. It's his shirt and he's his to lose. I think he's lost it. I think he lost it certainly against Fulham. For me, I think he lost it beforehand. I think Tobibo should have come in. There's a reason I think that as well. But I feel like now the time has come. Mavropanos cannot start against Chelsea, in my opinion. I think it's time now to get Tobibo into this side. I was surprised that Tobibo didn't start against Fulham. And the reason I was surprised is because Tobibo had been working with Lopetegui and with Max Kilman while Mavropanos was away with Greece during the international break. I just felt like it was the right time for Tobibo to be playing in that game. Surely in those 2 weeks working, they would have had that chemistry and been able to get that sort of gelling of a team together, a bit of a partnership at the back line with him and Kilman. Because let's get it right, they're our first choice centre-backs. Isn't it? Let's be frank. That was the vision of when we brought in both of those players. They would be the pairing. Look, it's easy. It's early in the season, so I do understand that this could be fitness issues and all that kind of stuff. But I'd like to think by now Tobibo is up to scratch in terms of fitness levels. I mean, he's been here long enough, isn't he? He didn't sign last week. He's been here quite a few weeks now, and he's been working with the West Ham and working with the manager and working with Kilman, etc., etc. I just want to start seeing it happen now. Mavropanos for me is just too much of a liability at this stage to be playing 90 minutes every week. I think it's just becoming too much of an issue. As I say, and the fact is now we've had Todibo doing enough work with Lopetegui for me to justify him starting. As I say, I got a little bit hammered actually by a few for my team selection, saying that was really harsh on Mavropanos and that I was, wrong, and that he's no way his shirt was up for grabs. I'd like to know what the view is now. There's a general consensus, but I'd imagine quite a few people now are swaying away from that and probably thinking actually wouldn't mind seeing a change. Also, I want to see Tobibo. Do you know what I mean? Like Tobibo for me was kind of the hallmark summer signing. He was the one that Manchester United really wanted. Obviously, couldn't get him because of UEFA ruling, because of ownership situation. But he was one of their main targets. Juventus, Champions League monsters. Juventus, the big Italian, giant side, wanted him. He wanted to go, didn't he? He wanted to go and play Champions League football. That was his preference. We managed to get the deal done. We've got this player in. We're not seeing him. And I know it's early in the season. This is not a video I'm throwing my toys about. I'm not getting angry. I'm not upset. My point is, I feel like it will be a big, big problem if we go to the Chelsea game and Mavropanos starts again and makes another mistake. I mean, we can't, we are getting to a point now. It's all well and good keep saying it's really early on in the season. And it is, look, it's 4 games in. But that being said, when does it stop becoming too early in the season? You know what I mean? Because we've only got 3 more games now until the next international break. We can't keep affording to not get points on the board now. We need to start getting some wins. It's vital. And of course, we've got the 3 points against Palace, and we got a well-worked point against Fulham. I mean, it was a tough watch, let's be honest. As I said, the snip was the better part of the day for me. But that being said, we need to start getting some wins. And Chelsea is a lovely opportunity to do that. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a bloody tough game. Chelsea aren't, it's not going to be a walkover. We know it's going to be a hard game. I'm not suggesting it will be. But what I'm saying is it's one of them games, London derby at home. It's against a considered, Sky Sports Big Six side. It would create the right headline for West Ham to go and beat Chelsea. I really don't want to see Lopetegui keep going down a Moyes route of sticking with someone regardless of how bad they're playing. I mean, look, he made changes in the Fulham game, didn't he? He took off Antonio, he took off Souček, which was advice he needed. So I think he can be quite ruthless anyway. I'd like to think he's different than Moyes in that regard. But with regards to Mavropanos, I want to see it changed. And there's another factor in this as well, and it's Tobibo himself. I mean, what's he going to be thinking if he doesn't get in now? Because he must be sitting there thinking, well, hang on, this is surely my chance now. Surely you're now going to say, this guy keeps making errors. He's cost you another goal. I mean, I know, as I say, people might think I'm being a bit harsh on the City goal, but it's just, I feel like it's a fact. It was, the third goal was down to his error. And then you're sort of feeling, well, if that's the case, there's 2 goals there, created by an error from our own centre-back. It needs to change. It really does. And I worry about Tobibo and where his mind's at. Because surely at some stage he's going to become frustrated and feeling like, if I made the right move here, I've come to West Ham, I'm not even getting a game here. Do you know what I mean? And the guys ahead of me is not performing that great. So I think it's time. I really do. I really want to see our best 11 out in this game. This is a big opportunity against Chelsea, and one that we can sort of feel like if we can get the 3 points, it will just really lift things up and send the right message, and it just create a real buzz, wouldn't it, around the club? We need it now, and I just feel now that sticking with Mavropanos would be a mistake. I'd like to know your thoughts on it, though. I'd like to know what the view is, because as I say, I did this before, and a fair few didn't agree. Felt that Mavropanos should be regarded as our the right to pair with Max Kilman going forward for a while until he's right to his shirt. As I say, my view is that he has lost a shirt, and I think it's time for a change. Interesting to know what your views are, but yeah, my view is it's time for a change at the back line. It's really very much needed, especially at home to Chelsea. Come on, you ones.